Week 7, video number 4. The topic is hate speech and propaganda, how language divides, mobilizes, and manipulates societies. Hello friends, welcome back. Today we will examine a dark but crucial aspect of forensic linguistics, hate speech and propaganda. This is where language stops being a tool for communication and becomes a weapon that divides, a weapon that humiliates, a weapon that mobilizes crowd into action. In this session, we study how linguistic patterns reveal hate, how propaganda manufactures consent, and how words turn into violence. From a linguistic perspective, hate speech is language that dehumanizes, targets identity, diminishes dignity, incites hostility, normalizes discrimination, or legitimates violence. It is not defined by anger. People can be angry without being hateful, and this is very serious. Hate speech is defined by intention and impact, and both are embedded in linguistic structure. So it is very, very interesting to go deep and to identify such structure. Hate speech often contains predictable linguistic elements. So we will see some examples. Labels that erase individuality. It means these people, they all, this kind of phrases or words would be added. The another one is animal metaphors that dehumanize, means rats, cockroaches, purity language, polluting our culture like this. So they use such kind of phrase. Threat metaphors, they are taking over. Group generalizations, every one of them is dangerous. Calls to action, and the phrase would be teach them a lesson. Each of these patterns can be measured, analyzable and forensically significant. When we are discussing about propaganda, it is not always loud. Sometimes it is calm, persuasive, logical looking. It creates a narrative over time by repeating selective ideas, highlighting choose facts and omitting contradictory information. When we are discussing about this propaganda, some structures, simple slogans may be used, binary thinking, us versus them, fear triggers, repetition, symbolism, authority endorsement. While hate speech incites emotion, propaganda shapes long-term identity and belief. When we use the word symbolism, you know what happened, the Generation Z and violence in Nepal, in Bangladesh. So some similarity with the symbol. So forensic journalists are taking care of that kind of repetition or some similarity in the symbols. So they are also research and development, R&D related to that part is also going on. This framework draws a clean boundary between the pure and the corrupted, the rightful owners and the invaders, the patriots and the traitors. Language simplifies complex social issues into emotional binaries. This linguistic reduction helps propaganda gain traction quickly because humans understand stories better than data. The moment societies split linguistically, division becomes psychological. Every genocide, every riot, every violent conflict begins long before the first attack. It begins with words that strip people of humanity. Calling someone an animal, disease, or parasite remove empathy from the listener. Once empathy is gone, violence becomes easier. Forensic linguists examine metaphors, labels, and narrative framing to determine whether language promotes dehumanization. Before people form opinions, propaganda primes their emotions. Fear primes suspicion, anger primes hostility, shame primes conformity, pride primes obedience. Language is crafted to evoke these emotions, often before offering any evidence. This emotional sequencing is what makes propaganda very effective. Propaganda often uses arguments that sound logical but lack context, accuracy, or nouns. Statements like crime has increased because of them. Another example we can take, they control the economy. The word or emphasized on they. They are taking our jobs. Okay, when we see some of the political speeches, okay, so these are the things that is we can say. These statements rely on simplistic cause and effect framing, giving the listener a sense of certainty and validation. This is linguistic manipulation disguised as logic. Digital spaces magnify hate speech. Anonymity embodies aggression. Algorithms promote emotional content. Echo chambers reinforce bias. Users imitate linguistic patterns unconsciously. Hate spreads not only through original posts but through repetition, remixing, and recontextualization. Digital hate becomes a linguistic virus. And in some of the speeches, we are also hearing that this is very toxic information. So, which would be harmful for the public at large. So, we can consider that toxic speech. Likewise, we have to go deep into this study and we have to highlight that how we have to identify hate speech. In a real case, a community was repeatedly described by a news outlet as dangerous, aggressive, or non-cooperative. Over the time, public perception shifted from A to B. A minor dispute escalated into communal tension. When linguists analyzed the reporting, they found systematic lexical framing, repetition of negative labels, absence of nouns, and one-sided sourcing. The language had created the conflict before the conflict created language. Indian law recognizes hate speech through provisions such as Section 153A, promoting enmity, Section 295A, deliberate acts to outrage religious feelings, Section 505, public mischief, and relevant sections under the IT Act for digital platforms. However, the law often struggles because hate is subtle, coded, disguised in metaphor. This is where forensic linguistics becomes essential. Decoding, meaning behind meaning. It means to read between the lines. You know, in the journalistic terms, they are using read between the lines. So, all the things one should gain. What is our responsibility? Analyzing coded language, tracking metaphor patterns, identifying dehumanizing frames, distinguishing free speech from harm speech, examining repetition across speeches, evaluating speaker intention and audience impact. You become the scientific voice in a deeply emotional landscape. Thank you for engaging with this powerful and sensitive topic. Language can unite or divide, liberate or radicalize, heal or wound. In the next session, we explore how forensic linguistics strengthen media fact-checking, restoring accuracy in a world saturated with sensationalism and agendas. We'll see you in video number 5.